Hey, this is CANDIA RAQUEL, founder of Centro de Poder, and you are at the Sensual Sessions podcast, the place to sense your fire so you can share your flame. And if you're new, you can grab a gift waiting for you on the link below. Today, we have a very special guest. This is Dr. Marcy Pondi. She lives in France, and I am very excited to have her here. Welcome, Marcy.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit
I'm
about.
glad to be here.
I am so excited. Tell us about your background. What led you to start working on sexuality and pleasure? Like, can you remember the moment in your life where you said, like,
Yeah.
this is what I want to do, like, to devote my professional life to?
I don't think there's one moment, but I had glimpses showing up along the way. I am a medical doctor. I was trained as an intensivist and anesthesiologist. And my life started to crumble, basically. My body, my physical body, my relationships, my sexuality. And I was determined to transform and to heal and to understand the why and also the resolution of what was going on. So I basically went on a journey, a deep, deep journey into my body. I learned the body mostly with my head. Um, lot of things about the body, a lot of things how the body works, but I never learned how to feel my body. And going into this journey of going deep, deep into my body, into my womb, into my heart, into my bones, and finding the life back and learning to feel myself and learning to feel myself in relationship. And I found a deep devotion for my body and for all that is. And I really wanted to share that with the world. I was like, oh, this is my medicine, because I really struggled at some point of my life. I was extremely suicidal, had chronic pain. And at some point I just said, okay, I think I'm going to be a better doctor if I'm alive than if I'm dead. So that was what, wanted me, like, drive me to shift. And sensuality and pleasure has been one of the big aspect of my transformation. Pleasure that actually nourish and fills the body, instead of like the short pleasure I could have, like alcohol, a drug at some point even, a medication. Like, it was a different kind of pleasure, and this is my medicine. It's really part of my medicine. I always wanted to be a doctor, to do medicine. I know I'm just bringing a different kind of medicine, a medicine that comes from my bone, from my heart, from my womb, from my body, and my, like, all the lineage I had, that come through me as well.
This is like, I'm getting literally the goosebumps, because indeed, you do know life, and I relate to you because I am a biologist. So, like, you have, like, this desire to understand life. So you learn the muscles, the anatomy, the functioning, you apply protocols, you see people healing, getting better, but still it's like you think you know yourself. So it's like a discursive knowledge, of course, very important and necessary, but that doesn't mean knowing life from the pure experience of what life is, that you so beautifully point out, of knowing life, knowing yourself through your bones, through your heart, through your womb, and how this medicine is a source of healing. Because interestingly enough, you were into healing people, like with internal medicine, you were an anesthesiologist, but there is this other resource, a fundamental resource that is accessible to all of us, that is the inner connection of to pleasure as medicine. And yeah, this is so powerful. And you mentioned about your lineage. Could you tell us a little bit more about what is the meaning of lineage for you?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I think there is different meaning for me. There is both the teacher I found on my way, multiple teachers, tantra teacher, sexual alchemist, energy healer, trauma resolution practitioner, and the lineage I found like from my ancestors also that came to me, from invisible realm as well, that actually opened to me through my body. So I have in both in the physical and the non-physical, in the alive, like in the living and in the dead. So yeah, I would say my lineage is all of that for now. I can still deepen the process, but it's ancestral wisdom that comes from my body, teacher I found and I have, and the unseen, which is not that unseen, but it can be seen sometimes. But yeah, that's what I mean by that.
So beautiful to have the connection to the ones that shared with you the knowledge, and to keep the lineage alive through passing it on, through what we say, sharing the flame of this fire that has been passed from generation to generation, from grandmother to mother to daughter, from teacher to student. Yes,
Exactly.
yes,
Exactly.
it's a very human way, and also a feminine way of keeping the knowledge alive and updated. And you know, in a way, like you become the lineage. Like, it's one thing is to have a knowledge, like you have a library of books in your mind and protocols and procedures, and you apply it. And another thing is to become the knowledge, like an embodied healer, because you heal yourself and then you pass it on. And in regards to that, like, I am curious to know, uh, what are the most common challenges that you see in your practice with your clients, with your with the people that you're treating now. Like, what is the main struggle that you see in today's society in regards to sensuality and pleasure?
I would say shame. Shame is a big, big thing. And what is funny with shame is it can take many, many faces. It had like a thousand face. Shame is not, doesn't always introduce self as shame. It can be anxiety, it can be aggressivity, it can be so like physical symptoms sometimes, depending on how strong is the shame. So it's like really like trying to do whatever it can to hide and to protect. Um, and also, yeah, finding the right distance when we meet very, very deep and very ancient layer of shame. So shame is a big thing, but once again, I don't always see, like it doesn't always show up as shame in the first place. That would be that. Yeah.
Shame. And
unworthiness as well. Like it's the two massive thing: unworthiness and shame.
worthiness and shame. Yes, because people don't feel that they deserve pleasure. And like people, I include myself in the people genre. Because like, at least for me, my education has been to work for hard. Like you want it, you gotta earn it first. So you become deserving of what you want. And I mean, to a certain point, it's okay. Like you want a car, well, don't rob it, don't steal it. You go work and then buy the car, because that way you also build confidence. Like you run a process and you see the outcome. But like this timeline of the process and the outcome, I feel that somehow got distorted with instant gratification, that we want to get the car first before working. So you get a lease and then you get it and then you pay it, but then you don't feel deserving. So it's like a distortion of desire as well, and a disconnection, I feel, from the process. And for the process understood as a pleasurable journey, as an unfolding, as watering the plant and watching the plant grow and bloom, that is should be uh, a beautiful process. And the biggest thing is that even if you worked hard, uh, there you are, you buy the car and you don't get any promised pleasure, because I feel that we we tend to lose the capacity for pleasure if it's not practiced, and instead we practice numbing ourselves, like not sensing ourselves, like not sensing the body, not sensing the experience. And honestly, I don't have an idea on how to fix that problem with worthiness, but you're the expert. So is there hope, like to feel worthy of pleasure?
I think so, and I also think it's a journey, and it come in layers. Like it's a kind of a feminine way of healing. So it's non-linear, and it's beautiful, but it's like not linear. And it's really allowing the layers to unfold, and also expanding that to the whole life for me. And the word that came when you mentioned like kind of working for things, which I think it's also like beautiful quality. I don't want to dismiss actually any part of of what we have and who we are, but it's also allowing the body to receive, which can be in and of itself a process, and receive nutrients. Sometimes like it can literally affect like how we digest food. So or not. So yeah, receiving, like allowing the body to receive, and because there is a part of doing stuff and a part of receiving. Yeah, that what came.
Yeah, like we are into doing and not into receiving, and it has to become like a reciprocity, like do
more space for receiving,
more space to receiving. And it's challenging.
especially for women. I think everyone receive, men and women, and like whatever your gender is, everyone has to receive. But for women, like the receptivity channel can be really blocked, basically. So it's many layers. Like it's restoring the boundaries, because it can be physically and energetically like disrupted.
Yeah.
finding safety in the body. And when I mean safety, it can be very blurry, like, oh, what is safety in the body? And for me, it's learning how to feel. So sometimes there's no safety, so like finding stability, finding present time, present space, finding what can support us right now, even if it's just a couch or a floor, some things that don't move, and going little by little. There is, like, I really also love the process of small doable pieces. You mentioned watering something.
Yes.
And yeah, feminine can be overflowing, but if there is parts that are completely dry, like, you can put water, it would slip. So it's really allowing one drop if it's the only thing that the body can allow in this moment. So there is a huge power in small doable pieces. And I cannot be the person who said there's no hope, because I've seen in my people I work with and in my own body things that really literally like looks like miracles. So it's a grounded hope, and grounded more than hope, it's like practice experience. It's like, yeah, it works.
A grounded
It's awesome.
certainty. It's a fact. It's the outcome of a
Yeah,
small doable steps along a
exactly.
nurturing journey. Like I'm instantly feeling like more relaxed and happy just with the images of find something that doesn't move, that is it's gonna be there, like the floor that you can rely on,
Yeah,
and find support there, and learn how to set boundaries. And that makes so much sense because I women, we are tremendously vulnerable in the strict way of susceptible to damage, like physically and culturally, historically. And we still live in a culture when women are supposed to receive, even if they don't want to receive what they are being given, which is actually a violation, and can be from the mildest way of the salary disparity between men and women, which is very serious, but it's not something physical, like in the flesh level, and something directly physical as being stared at in an undesired, in a lusty way in the subway, or being touched. Like if you live in Mexico, like, and you walk out of the street, like you better be like in a costume, like hidden, and like try to be discreet, and then the boundaries become a walling off from our own pleasure, and a walling off
yeah,
from the body, because like, okay, sometimes you get to receive stuff that you don't want because you cannot put the boundary, so you put a boundary at a flesh level of how much you let in, how much, like, okay, it will touch your body, it will make harm your like physical integrity, but you try that not to reach your soul or your heart. So at the
yeah,
moment of opening, it's like, of course I am not gonna open my heart, body and soul for no reason. Like it's a matter of survival, of like being able to keep on going despite uh the the context of abuse in culture. So even in civilized, more or less civilized countries, there's still this like tremendous affectation. So like I feel that we are lucky to have boundaries, like at least the ones that we've built professionally, and being able to have our independence, but still for for women that have had like this support from our family and inner means to get ourselves a career, and we are able to create safety for us, we are not like exempted from these like existential angst of danger of opening. So I like that, to hear that there is hope, and there is actually like a bunch of proven cases, and it starts with setting boundaries. So my question is, once you have your material boundaries, like you have your work, equal payment, that's covered, like your friends and family respect you, your partner respects you, you have your house, you're safe, but still you're dealing with this cultural background, with this religious shaming, with this global ecological crisis, like, then what would be one small step to put a boundary to all of that, and then not feel guilty, to feel pleasure when you know that there are people dying in Ukraine? Like, because then women are also like the caregivers and the ones that are supposed to take care of everything and everyone. And yeah, my question is how you put boundaries to yourself.
I love this question because, yeah, putting boundaries also on ourselves. As you said, it's not only us, like there is this societal, like cultural, and like religious, it's like layer upon layer upon layer. So I think it's really a call for compassion. Like, of course, it can be challenging. There is like, it's not only an individual single like problem and situation. It's bigger than that. I don't think, I mean, it's not my experience that you can avoid or bypass shame. We actually move through guilt and shame. For me, the key is to allow it to be a wave of experience. But if it was blocked by guilt or shame, it's like, oh yeah, I'm experiencing a wave of shame or a wave of guilt, and seeing that as something you meet on the way to liberation. And yeah, there is also like this woman who are nurturing, caregiving. And for me, it's also a call to receive even deeper, to receive from the earth, receive from like the elements, because we are connected to that. I had no idea. I was not connected to that. So it might make no sense for people who are listening to that. So don't take my word for like for true. Like, you don't have to believe what I say. It's really more of an experiential thing than a belief kind of thing. And for me, boundary are also first, they're also multidimensional. Like I mostly work with sensation, so it can actually be felt. Like when you restore a boundary, you can actually feel it. And it's also calling layer of support. Like, if we're connected with all of the things, if we're so sensitive to stress and to hormonal changes and to what's going on in the world, it is because it is actually useful. Like, it serves a purpose. And it's a call to, for me, it's a call to call. It's invitation to call layer of support and layer of resource in the physical world and in the non-physical world, and like higher level of support, even in the unseen world, and actually feel it. That's what I want to say. And for the ecological like crisis and climate crisis, there is also for me, a connection to the earth that we can have, like through the cervix and through cervical orgasm and through the legs, and like the physical body is connected to earth, and women tend to have a connection to that, who is actually more easier, I would say, because I work with men as well. Easier or different, maybe. And for me, I really make a connection between like intense, I would really want to emphasize like the word intense, with an intense ecological anxiety and a disconnection from the body. Like we literally are the earth. So it's like a deep call of like, come back, come home in the body.
Yeah, come home to the earth that you are already, to the planet, and take care of that piece of planet. Make sure it's nurtured, happy, safe, pleasured, sensual. Yeah, like, and that's very pragmatical, because if you change, the world changes, because you're part of the world. And if you're like taking care of this little piece of planet, you may even inspire other people to do the same. So it ripples in the same way that our abusive interrelationality affect us all in a chain sequence. Also, like this grounded integrity that comes from the body um, has an effect, and it has a resonance. Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. And you mentioned cervical orgasms. What are those? Tell us more.
I think it depends probably on people, like any kind of orgasm. How can I explain cervical orgasm? For me, they come from the earth. I had massive walls around my heart. Like I had, I won't say, like I won't go into the detail, but let's say an intense childhood with a bit of violence, a bit of sexual abuse and stuff. And I had like a big wall around my heart. I was really locked out of my heart. And I didn't notice that because it was so early that it was not impacting my life. No, it was just life for me.
Yes.
So for me, it's really, going deeper into the heart, because they are deeply, deeply connected with the heart and with the whole body, of course, but with the heart and with the earth as well. It's like a deep current that come from the earth, the heart, and ripple down through the cervix and kind of go down on the earth. Like it can look many, many, many different ways. But I keep getting impressed by the woman's ability for pleasure in the right condition. Like it's like there is a need for specific condition. It's actually learning what are the conditions for your body and cultivate that. And it's indeed, it changed the whole, it does change the world. Like it has changed. I'm seeing effect in my family, because I was really into like, oh, I'm doing that, do that. Like I was really, really like, and now I'm like, oh, there's another way. But I learned as I did it. So it impacts my family, my whole family, obviously my client and my client family. So it's really something that ripple through, as you said. Yeah, like a wave of orgasms, wave of transformation. So yeah, I hope I'm planting a few seeds right now. That's the main thing, and really what I call devotion, because we meet sometimes parts in the body, like pieces in the body that are blocked or tense, or like that never showed up before, like new sensation. And sometimes some of them, like in the second, they're gone. Oh, they had a need or something, or they needed time or something. And in a split second, it changes. And sometimes it takes a week, sometimes it takes a month, and sometimes it can take a year. So really, it's devotional practice to have like tools to let the body move and transform herself, and meeting what doesn't move. I'm quoting that. Like I don't really like the word, with devotion and with passion and with time and space, and allowing this part of the body to have all the time in the world, even if you allow this time for 1 second, but having 1 second of infinite presence can be really helpful. And it's definitely also practice, depending on where you come from. It was definitely practice for me. I want to share that.
A developmental practice. And you talk about the heart, and this is a question that sometimes like puzzles me, because it's said that the heart per se as an organ, with a specific unique muscular tissue, has a vagus nerve but has no direct nervous terminations. Like anatomically, scientifically, supposedly the heart cannot be felt, but I hear testify that I do feel my heart. So, what's your take on this as a medical doctor and also as a sensualist? So, is it
Yeah.
hard, or is it another layer of experience, or like, let's not worry with explanations and just like dive into the mystery of the devotional heart? What would you say?
The heart can be felt. I was surprised by what can be felt in the body. There were things I had no idea could be felt. Like at some point, I could feel my third ventricle, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, if I can feel that."
Oh,
I don't feel it all the time. I'm thankful for that, by the way, that I don't feel that all the time. But when I started to feel more and more of the fluid body, like there's different layers of the body. There's a physical, dense body that we can feel, touch. There is a more fluid body that we can also feel. There is also a light body that we also can feel. So all the images we can see sometimes, I don't know, or I don't have a strong image in head like to share in mind. But oh yeah, let's say all the description of the energetic current, and I don't know everything about like the Chinese medicine and all the way they can describe stuff. Yeah, it can be felt. So it comes from sensation, the way energy move into the body. There's different ways for the energy to move, but for me it's mostly sensational. Like it is sensation that you're feeling. So yeah, a short answer, yes, the heart can be felt.
the heart. So yeah, like when we talk about the heart, is that heart beating organ inside the chest. Like literally,
Yeah,
the sensation is there. It's not like you have your spiritual heart floating on the side of your ear. No, it's like in situ.
yeah, exactly. I'm really talking about the earth that can feel our heart. Can feel
And
sometimes our bones and sometimes not. And it's yeah. When I said parts of the body that disappeared, it can also be that like, oh, it's possible to not feel the heart, and it's okay. This is the kind of thing like, oh, allowing time and passion. There is a reason why the heart said, oh no, I want to be felt.
a boundary, perhaps.
It's dangerous. Yeah, it's like a dangerous. Usually, it's like it's not safe to feel, to be felt.
And that's okay. Take it gently.
Yeah,
Don't try to crack open the heart, because like that would be against what we're working on tending to the sensitivity and setting a safe place for the feminine to receive, to welcome.
exactly.
Yes, I get a sense of what you say about cervical orgasm, because in a way I had my theories that the feminine sex, like the genitals, are not so, they are localized, but like they blend with the whole body. So I had my own like conclusions that feminine sexual pleasure is very globally experienced. Like sometimes I thought like, wow, I'm feeling this, like this orgasmic ecstasies here, like of course in the pelvis, between the legs and in the vagina, but I am feeling it all the way to the chest and even like, to the throat.
Yeah,
Like if if the vagina and the heart would be the same thing, and also the times that I felt like more in love, like for me, lost and love are practically the same word. Like the times that I had more intimate pleasure had been the times that I've been like more devotionally given into this mystery that is love. So again, would that make any anatomical sense, Dr. Marcy?
From my, I would say, an understanding maybe or experience of, I don't know if it's, there is like the vagus nerve that could be as a more anatomical aspect, makes sense, and the connection between the vagus nerve and like going all directly from the brain and moving through the throat to the heart, to the like to all the digestive organ, to the womb and the cervix. So there is this the nerve that could be physically, that can be physically
Connected.
that makes sense. Yeah, like it's like a physical aspect, and then there is energetic aspect also, like the central channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the different energetic currents that move through the body. So there is multiple layers of I won't say explanation, if an explanation is needed, but I like to have experience, like multiple layers of experience, and how to create the condition to have the experience.
Yeah, yeah, like we are multi-layered beings. And you know, this is good because I am sure that there's a bunch of sensualists listening to us that are also like A type personality women that have to grow a thick skin, that have learned to become tough and like fight against men at a work level and reach to the highest position, like because those are pretty much safe places. But then like from there to blooming opening as a lotus is like, well, at least give me some rational stuff so I can
Yeah,
put boundaries to my hyper boundary compulsion. And then I can relax. So
yeah.
yeah, what other kinds of orgasms are there, Dr. Marcy? Tell us everything.
Yeah. So many kinds. Sometimes I'm like, does it make sense to even classify them? And I like to say yes in some ways, because it can help to maybe invite them. There is, I would say, of course, a clitoral orgasm. I feel like it's the one that most people talk about when I talk about orgasm.
Okay.
And I think it's beautiful that the clitoris is, like, people talk about the clitoris. I think it's amazing. And I think it can also be limiting to only mention the clitoris, or to think that it's only here for pleasure. The clitoris is not only here for pleasure. But anyway, I want to say the clitoral orgasm, the J-spot orgasm, which is like a more internal orgasm. Yeah. Which in some anatomists think and believe that the J-spot orgasm and the clitoral orgasm are quite the same, because the clitoris can be like a bit like deeper and go all the way through the G-spot or urethral sponge, depending on how you want to call it.
But it doesn't? But it's not the
Sorry?
same. So
it's not the same, but some anatomics, because there's a lot of things we actually don't know about, even the anatomy of this part of the body, like about the sex and the uterus. There are things we actually still don't know, and we pretend that we know, because we like to do that. But there's not that much, like there's not so many dissection done. Even the dissection, it's done on dead bodies, and we learn like a live body from dead bodies. Yes. So I love anatomy, and I want to say it's also limited. Yes. So clitoral orgasm, J-spot orgasm, cervical orgasm, even in the vagina, there is multiple pleasure spots. Like the cervix can be a pleasure spot, and orgasm spot is a J spot, a ritual sponge. There is A spot, P spot, so before, like just in front of the cervix, behind the cervix. There is a K spot. So there is like a lot of spots that exist. And then I was only mentioning the sex, like so there is anus that can be pleasurable, and comment on dit, éponge périnéale, perineal sponge. So there is multiple physical stuff, but I think the whole body can be orgasmic, and that's what I want to end. Yeah, so that's the main thing I want to talk about. Like you can touch your own skin and like breathe and allowing sound and allowing the sensation of pleasure to move through the body. And for me, the orgasm is mostly like a sensation, usually pleasure, but not only pleasure. A sensation that moves through the body until the body is transformed in some way. So the breast, the throat, even like the physical throat, there is like pleasure that can be taken from deep throating. The breast, the nipples, the belly, like the whole body is just calling you for pleasure.
The whole body is calling you for pleasure. Yes, yes, definitely. This is so important, like to reclaim this delight that we already are, this liveliness, this brimming fire that is, it's pure pleasure in a way. And simply talking about this, I hope that that the people that is listening to us can like also feel how we as a body understand this, and it makes sense at a felt sense level. Like, yeah, the whole body it's sensual, and you can experience orgasm literally from any area, because everything is connected. Perhaps the difference would be how into the realm of arousal you are to like get into this delight. I have a friend that one time she was super shocked, positively shocked, because she walked into the Caribbean Sea at Playa del Carmen. That is a beautiful turquoise sea that it's like a swimming pool for kids, like for half a kilometer.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can walk with the soft warm water at waist height. And she was walking, and she had like one of her most memorable orgasms.
I love it. I love this story.
And what she describes what is exactly what you're saying, an utter state of fleshly devotion. So
Yeah.
like she felt like like making love with the
In the ocean, literally.
the and
I love it.
you say receiving, like to feel, to get an orgasm from a deep throat blowjob, or a cervical orgasm, like that takes, actually that doesn't take anything. Like that actually means real safety, like real physical safety, that translate in the sense of safety and certainty and trust at every level, so the body can open. And now I actually don't see it anymore as an opening, but as just taking the space that you already owned, but you were not safe to be in. Like
Yeah.
like a flower, it doesn't take anything for the flower to open. Like that's her nature, to be blooming open. Like it's not something to do, it's non-linear, it's not a doing, it's more a beingness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Marcy, would you share with us a little exercise, poem, or something so the sensualist can embody what we've been talking?
Hmm.
Maybe we could try putting your camera on if your internet supports us.
My internet is okay with that.
Yeah.
Um,
Summoning
I'm
the
feeling into that because we have a limited amount of time, and I tend to, when I start, it's hard to have like short practices for me. So I'm like, oh, how can I?
we have 5 minutes.
Yeah, in 5 minutes. I would start with once again something stable. So maybe like what's holding your body could be the chair or the floor. Taking the time to feel into that. Notice the point of contact between your body and what's holding your body. Maybe inviting a gentle, subtle movement between your body and what's holding your body. Notice your breath. Nothing to change now, just notice your breath. Notice if you can allow a gentle sound from your mouth. A gentle exhale. And putting your hands or your attention on your breast. And breathing into your heart and your breast. There's nothing to do right now. Nothing has to happen right now. If the mind wants to do something, you can notice the sensation in the body, if there is any sensation.
Yes.
And allowing your hands to touch your breast. Maybe inviting it, like something that feels pleasurable if it's available. And feeling there is both your hands on your breasts. Your hands on your breast. And your breast under your hand. So both touching each other. Mm. Mm. Maybe you want to smile at your breast. Just thanking them, thanking you for this short, gentle practice. Mm. Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming back to point of contact. And if you want to hug yourself.
Super happy. Super happy, safe. Yeah, I had my breasts super abandoned. I even feel a little bit sad about it. And yeah, like why would we why would we abandon ourselves? Why would we neglect our pleasure? Why would we neglect the utmost pure expression of being alive, that is the pleasure of being alive? Like Thank you
Exactly.
so much, Marcy, for sharing this light of clarity, of warm, embracing, fleshly, protective clarity. Very happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I loved it.
I love it too. Tell us, how can we know more about your work?
I'm mostly on Instagram and Facebook. So Dr. Marcy Pondi or Marcy Pondi on Facebook. I post there mostly in French, even though I work in French and in English.
And English. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you, Marcy. So,
You're welcome.
Essentialist, go follow Dr. Marcy Pondi on Facebook and Instagram. Get to know her work because it's fascinating. And if you haven't subscribed already to the Sensual Sessions podcast, go to centrodepoder.com and get yourself signed up to get a special gift for you waiting there. And these episodes delivered on your inbox weekly. Until next time, remember to sense your fire so you can share the flame.